Hello, I'm Alan, and welcome to today's edition of Alan's Biking Adventures. You may have noticed that the scenery is a little different today. That's because we're here at the start of the TD5 Boro bike tour. That's right, today's ride is going to be 40 miles with 0 cars through all 5 boroughs of New York City. We're starting right here in Lower Manhattan, working our way up into the Bronx, back down into Manhattan, down into Queens, down through Brooklyn, across the Verrazano Bridge into Staten Island, and over to the Staten Island Ferry Terminal for the Finish Festival. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, comments, ideas, or suggestions for future editions of Alan's Biking Adventures, just leave them in the comments below. Well, without further ado, let's ride. As you can see, there's always a bottleneck at the start of the 5 Borough Bike Tour. Every year there's a bottleneck. I find, though, that if you're in the first wave, the bottleneck's not as bad as if you're in one of the later waves. I was in the first wave this morning, and once I got past the start line, things started moving fairly well. For those of you who like statistics, when I got to the start area, it was about 44 degrees with the wind out of the southeast at about 8 miles per hour. Over the course of the ride, it did warm up into the 60s, and so while I was quite cold at the start, especially since I was at the start for about an hour and a half, once it warmed up, I was quite comfortable. The total length of the ride was 39.37 miles, with a total elevation gain of 1,201 feet. I had an average speed of 16.1 miles per hour, which, when you look at how many cyclists there were and how I had to keep jockeying for position to get past people, 16.1 miles per hour is pretty darn good. I had a maximum speed of 29.9 miles per hour. Unfortunately, I don't have accurate heart rate data. I did stop to use the restroom at one point during the ride, and during my restroom break, my heart rate monitor got out of range of my cycle computer, and they disconnected from each other, and I could not get it to reconnect because I didn't want to stop the route. So, as I said, I don't have accurate heart rate information. I also don't have accurate calories burned or power output as a result. However, according to Strava, I burned about 2,107 calories and averaged about 115 watts. I'm not sure I totally believe that, but that's what it said. That's all I have to go on. In terms of the route, as I mentioned at the start, we started in Lower Manhattan. We worked our way up through Manhattan to Central Park, through Central Park, up to the Madison Avenue Bridge, which we took into the Bronx. We were in the Bronx for a very short period of time, less than a mile, and then took the 3rd Avenue Bridge back into Manhattan. Once back in Manhattan, we went down the east side of Manhattan on the FDR Drive, and took that to the Queensboro Bridge, which we took into Queens. We went up through Queens, then turned around, came back down through Queens, eventually getting and into Brooklyn. Once we were in Brooklyn, we eventually got onto the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway and onto the Gowanus Expressway, and we took that to the lower level of the Verrazano Bridge, which we took into Staten Island. And then once we were in Staten Island, it was local roads until we got to the Finish Festival, which was, I think the place is called Empire Outlets. It's an outlet mall that is right next to the Staten Island ferry terminal. It was a pretty good finish festival. Everybody at the 5 Boro Bike Tour got a finisher's medal, and so I have that as a nice memento of the ride. I also have this video as a nice memento of the ride. I'm really happy to share it with you. I hope you enjoy the video as much as I enjoyed making it. That's about all I have to say about today's ride at this point. So I'm going to turn you over to silent video to watch the rest of the ride. Looks like at this point on the ride, I'm probably on the Gowanus Expressway. Yes, because this is the Verrazano Bridge. And we had the climb over the Verrazano Bridge and down into Staten Island. And as I said, it was local roads until we got to Empire Outlets and the Staten Island ferry terminal. Well, enjoy the rest of the ride. Well, that was awesome. Here I am at the finish of the 5 Boro Bike Tour. I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, stay safe out there.